Network Entertainment.
You're listening to the Adobo Talks podcast, The Business of Creativity, a series of high level inspirational and educational sessions on how creativity unleashes inventive solutions that fuels the economy. In each episode, we'll be learning essential lessons through conversations with some of the brightest minds in the creative industries. I'm Angel Guerrero, founder, president, and editor-in-chief of Adobo Magazine, the word on creativity. And today, I'm joined by Katrina Encanto, who I've watched grow into her own in the advertising industry. From her beginnings as one of Philippines' brightest young creatives to her current role as Executive Creative Director of 180 Amsterdam. Truly a world-class talent. Thank you for joining us via Zoom today, Katrina. So how are you today? How is it cold there? It's pretty,
Yeah.
I'm sure. What's the temperature like there?
Oh, I lost track, to be honest. I think it might be 2 degrees or something. But I'm really looking forward to going to Manila at the end of the year. Just counting the days till 25-degree weather.
You'll enjoy it here. Now, I
Yeah.
know, I'd just like to know, how you wrapped up 2023. It must have been quite an interesting year for you.
Yeah, I would say 2023 has been a year of personal growth, which I think is ironic given, I think most companies didn't, had a hard time. Um, I think I think the way that we've looked at it is like, with these challenges, it's a way for us to think on our feet and assess how we do things and be ingenious with our approach. And I think, as with anything, we've managed to approach these challenges with a healthy dose of optimism, as well as um, huge consideration for how we act and make a difference in 2024.
Well, I couldn't agree more that optimism helps all of us tide through any difficulties. And, since it's post pandemic and we're trying to normalize things, nothing is really normal anymore. I think we're stretched all sides, right, in order to deal with the challenges that the world has to offer. But are you looking forward to the year ahead? I mean, what are your plans?
Yeah, I think I'm always looking forward to a new year. I think um we have we've really like stretched ourselves this year, and I think, with the current role that we have, I think there are always challenges that we haven't ever experienced before.
I
And
see.
so, I'm looking forward to a little bit of rest and sort of make sure that we hit the ground running in 2024.
And I know Katrina quite well. I've seen her grow up as a young creative, and in fact, the first Adobo Design Award, she was my one of my top winners in 2016 or 27. Forget, really early, 2008 even, I think. She won the Adobo Design Awards, which was quite incredible. And then she's been on the cover of Adobo magazine as well. And I've seen her win a lot of things around the world. Just want to give you perspective. She represented the Philippines as a young creative. She won the Global Ad Age cover competition in Cannes. And then when she was there, she won a Gold Lion the same time. So I've watched Katrina grow together with her partner, who is now her husband, EJ. And that's also a great story. So just, I've known Katrina a long time. And the reason why I invited her to be one of our first few guests is I really admire where she is now. 180 Amsterdam. It's a global network based out of Amsterdam, but they have how many markets do you have? You have Middle East. You have
Yeah. So we work on global accounts,
yeah.
so both on PepsiCo and DHL, and Asahi as well. Like, these are all, as well as Adidas too. So these are all global accounts, and it just so happens that we're based in Amsterdam, which I think is a key location. To be honest, a lot of global companies are also based here, like Nike and Netflix. Um, International agencies like Wyden and 72 have opted to set shop in Amsterdam. So it's a great location because it's quite connected. It's in the middle of Europe and quite connected to the rest of the world as well.
Well, it must have been really interesting for you to move to several markets, in throughout your career. So I'd like to know, you've worked in the Philippines, as we know. Then you went to Thailand, you went to Italy, the UK, and now the Netherlands. Can you sort of tell us a little bit about that journey of moving from country to country and how you've adapted, and especially different life environments and work environments?
Yeah, no, I think I, I consider myself very privileged to have had this journey. I think a lot of it has been driven by a desire to keep learning, and a desire to keep making an impact. Um, I think growing up, I was I'm the daughter of a lawyer, and also my mother was a dean of mass communications in the University of the Philippines.
Oh, I
So
didn't
so
realize.
I think these have informed my ambitions for using my job as a platform to ensure that first I keep learning, and second that I am able to make an impact on the bigger sort of societal issues as well. So I think growing up, because of this environment, education was a huge part of my life. I spent a lot of my afternoons in my mom's office while she was working, and I think the environment of being in the academe just sort of lit my curiosity about most things. I always wanted to learn, and I always wanted to keep pushing myself. So I think that's the reason why I've moved to all of these places, because I think I always treated every brief as an opportunity to learn, but equally I sought out opportunities to stretch myself, to go beyond the comfort zone. So whether that's to take up strategic design in Italy, or then move to a regional role in Thailand, or a global role in the UK, or a leadership role in Amsterdam. Um, I always moved because I felt, that is an opportunity for me to grow and to learn as fast as I could. So, so yeah, that was my main motivation for moving to all these places.
So motivation is the key. It doesn't matter where you land. I mean, fundamentally, you went around the world, and it didn't matter if it was another Asian country, or European country, or in fact Amsterdam right now. So it's more that you wanted to just face it and grow and learn from each country, whatever it gives you.
Yeah, I think that
Okay.
was really it. I think I was always keen to get as much out of the experience as I could, and I was always attracted to opportunities that seemed like, okay, that is there's a lot of room for me to grow in that role. So that was like the main motivation for moving.
But other people do find it challenging moving from country to country. I think your adoption rate is probably higher than most. It seems that you find it easy to adopt and adapt to the various countries that you live in. I mean, there's huge difference both culturally, also in terms of lifestyle, also in terms of the kind of food you eat, the temperature, the weather. You seem to have adapted very quickly. What do you think is a trick to that? Because not everyone does, right? When they move, they find it challenging, and find it difficult to adopt to the culture or to the weather or even to the food. So how did you? Did you travel a lot as a young child to give you that high level of adoption and adaptation?
Yeah, I think as I said, I think curiosity is deeply wired into my being, and while I never find these challenges easy, I think actually the longer I've been away from home, the more difficult it's been, because
Mm.
I don't see my nephews and nieces grow, and I'm not always there for like the big moments in my family who I'm very close to. So that is obviously very difficult.
Mm.
But I think the the opportunities just outweigh, the disadvantages. And I think because I've because I think I just feel a lot more alive when I am learning, and I'm stretching myself. Then I feel like that's really the reason why I've kept going in this career. Like, I think there's just still so much more for me to learn. And I think that keeps me, sort of interested in the journey.
And you're lucky you're in the field of creativity, because creative environment, you can imagine, you want more challenges, and you want more stimulants, you want contrasting stimulants, right, to get you going. So I wanted to know, in the different countries and different agency networks that you worked in, tell us what's unique about each creative environment that you've experienced so far. How is creativity in Manila different, say, from even Thailand, from Italy, from UK, and Amsterdam? You've worked in different agencies, different markets. Do you see a difference?
Yeah, I would say like the 5 years that I spent in the Philippines was fundamental in studying my wiring as a creative.
Mm-hmm.
So I started my career at Saatchi, where I learned the concept of the marks, create irrational, emotional connections with brands. It was quite foundational for me to start at Saatchi, and I think they gave me a lot of opportunities from the get go to work on big multinational companies like P&G and Mead Johnson. So early on, it's not like, those bigger briefs were kept away from me. Like, I had the chance to sort of get going and take on like the bigger challenges for creatives. And then at JWT, we had this concept that attention is really like it's really key to get attention, and if it becomes irrelevant if you don't get attention. So um I think that's where I learned that good is not good enough. And of course, the late day fair was fundamental in helping me understand that. I was, because I had worked so closely with him, I was able to hone, my sense of craft, my sense of pushing ideas to more than just wallpaper. And also, like, I was exposed early on to a kind of leadership that is ambitious and nurturing, and that it's possible to push the quality of the work without ever losing compassion and kindness. So I was very privileged to have had those 2 years with him. And I think as I left the Philippines, I would say that being a Filipina informs a lot of how I operate. So even when I moved to different countries, different networks, I really lent on our capacity to care as people. I think we have the soft power to care about things that are often overlooked, whether it's about people or about a subject. So I think I've used that to just give more to the job, because care costs nothing, and if I could just give like one more minute to a person or to a subject, then maybe that's the unique way that I could add value to whatever it is that I'm doing.
I find it really unique that you say, although you thrive and strive for excellence in your craft and or you're challenged, that you always inject compassion and care. I find that quite unique, and I think that makes you unique as a creative, that you're able to inject that throughout the process.
Yeah, I would say I think that's quite important, and something I've really learned, in working with teams. Um, I think it's important to create like a sense of psychological safety, to ensure that people feel free to take risks and be brave with their ideas. So yeah, I would say that's something that I've tried to do anyway. Whenever I'm working with a group, to ensure that I'm connecting to them as individuals as well, because also that's the way that we learn about the world is through connections. Um, So yeah.
You mentioned that some of the foundations of working in advertising that you had was when you were in Saatchi, where they gave you accounts, the big accounts right away, right? P&G and the likes. And then now you're handling global accounts, big brands like Pepsi and all. And I just wondered, are clients the same everywhere, you think, or they're pretty much the same across markets that you've worked in? Is there a template to how marketers work, or you know, what makes a great client? Based on your experience, do share that with me, because you've had the opportunity to work with local, regional, and global clients now. Is it fundamentally the same when you talk to one marketer in the Philippines and one marketer in Thailand, the UK, and now where you are with your global clients?
Yeah, I would say the scope is a bit different. The stakes are also different with each role. And so um there are differences because I guess, the local clients would just be more focused on the a specific market, whereas global clients have to make sure that ideas travel universally. And there is a sense of ensuring like sharp, there's a lot more rigor with working with global clients because I think we have to ensure that the ideas we come up with are so impactful, but at the same time quite universal, meaning it has to travel to Mexico and Singapore and Africa and somehow kind of connect to one big idea. So a case in point was, when I worked on Persil, like
Mm-hmm.
I think that was probably like the biggest brand that I've worked on. It had a brand communication idea, Dirt is Good, that has lasted for over a decade. And I think just having had the chance to work on a brand of that scale um, was a great opportunity for me because it helped me understand, like how do we work with clients to ensure that our ideas are sort of bulletproof and can resonate on an emotional level, and that we're able to tell different cultural stories, with one single idea. But going back to your question, like, what makes great clients? Like, I think those are like, uh, yeah, I would say like that there are fundamental qualities that make a great client. The sense of collaboration, the sense of trust in the agency. I think that's really important. I think a teamwork mentality is something I really appreciate. The fact that we are all trying to solve a problem and that we bring unique things to the table, I think is important for a partnership. A sense of fairness and honesty, I think is also really important. That we treat each other with respect and we are upfront with the challenges on both our sides. Um, I think clarity is really good because I think when you're able to be clear about the specific objectives, then we're able to operate a bit more efficiently and be a little bit more focused about what it is that we need to do together. I also have a sense of humor. I think some of my clients have become really good friends. I've managed to keep in touch with them, and just a sense of humor just is something that kind of eases the tough days, and it makes us feel that we're all in this together.
Well, thank you for sharing that your perspective on clients. And I mean, that's an ideal setting, right? But it's not that way all the time. Sometimes
Right.
each client's objectives are different. They're challenged by the need to produce results and sales and whatever the mark is to hit their KPIs. And sometimes in terms of gut, it doesn't relate with what you plan to do. So I get that. I've worked in advertising, and I see that in an ideal world, right? You respect each other, and you have a great collaboration together, and you have a common purpose. I mean, you've had difficult clients. What's your pet peeve when it comes to what clients do? Just curiously.
Yeah. Well, I I think I think it's fundamental for us to just lean into curiosity. Like in these moments, I think it's it helps to just be curious about the things that they are concerned about. I think trying to understand as much as you can about the business is the best way for us to help our clients.
I couldn't agree more.
So
Yeah.
I think just stretching your imagination and just learning a little bit more about the business, trying to hear them out, even if there are, for instance, terms you don't understand, like just leaning in and maybe like asking questions and just uh, trying to help them as best as you can and trying to understand what are their objectives and what is the best way for creativity to help them.
Yeah.
um
So
I
that's a
think
great
starting
starting point.
there,
Yeah.
yeah, starting from there and just listening rather than, okay, this is what we want to sell in, like without kind of rooting it in the actual objectives of the brief, I think is a little bit dangerous, just because then um I think it just it doesn't really go back to creativity solving a problem. I think the reason why we exist is to use our creativity to help a brand land well in the world. So
I,
that's really how I approach these difficult situations.
well, it's great to hear. Use creativity to land in the world, make brands land in the world. That's great. Now, being a creative in advertising right now, I would say is more challenging these days. It's not like what we're used to. It's more complicated, dealing with the multiverse of new media channels, rich data, hyper targeting audiences, technology, and generative AI. I mean, do give us your insights on this. I mean, we used to do traditional advertising, as we'd say it. Then we use a lot of tech now. There's a lot of ads for purpose. But being a creative these days, what skills do you need to just navigate all of the media channels and the data that you have, out there?
Yeah, again, I think I view these as just tools. I don't think they will ever replace humans, just because I think the things that connect to people are still, human insights. Like the things that really resonate are still defined by emotions, and that's something that these tools wouldn't be able to do without the humans operating them. So I think I wouldn't be daunted by all of these tools. I would just like view them as just more things to help improve our work, and I think leaning on your capacity to be curious about them and learning how to operate them is just the way that I would um yeah I would approach them, just because anyone can learn about mid journey, anyone can learn about rich data and all that, like it doesn't cost anything. Like all of the information um is available. And if it isn't available on the internet, there's always someone to ask. So I would just treat these as opportunities to keep learning as creatives.
So there's nothing really stopping a creative person from just dealing with all of it, whatever is out there. It's not what you call a hurdle. It's rather use it as a tool, take it on, learn it, and be as creative as you can be, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think these will come with like these technologies have already existed in the world, and they will just keep going. There will be more tools, there will be more tech, and I think it's just more of like just going with the way the world is going as well. If we don't learn them, it's almost as if we are not making use of tools that are available for us. So we're not going to go backwards, really. I think it's just going to keep evolving. So um, if we are if we are going to make work that is going to be relevant, then I think it's useful for us to learn all of these tools anyway.
Okay, guys. So hear it from Katrina: is embrace what's coming. It will be there, and just use it as your tool to navigate your way forward as a creative person. Now, in a previous interview, Katrina, you shared a lovely lesson about reframing our relationship with frustration. Now, what did you mean by that?
Yeah, I guess so. The way that I looked at it is that, and maybe this has been informed by, you know, my days playing football and being part of a team and being into sports. I think I love that quote uh, from it must have been Doc Rivers, but like that pressure is a privilege, and I truly believe that. I think if you are facing pressure, then that's an opportunity for you to learn,
Mhm.
and I think you learn through these challenges anyway. So I see moments of frustration as a way for us to force ourselves to look sideways, and look at things uh, in a different way from the way that we've always done. I think it's a sign that maybe things aren't working, that we just have to understand how we change our approach. So because I do embrace wanting to learn and all that, I see it as a fundamental part of the creative process. Like if we're not getting frustrated, then that basically means we've just been doing the same thing over and over again. So
So it's good to be frustrated, and fundamentally, is what you're saying. That's good.
yeah,
When you're frustrated, work around it, and that's your trigger point, or it's a catalyst for you. Now let's talk about the creative work, that you've been behind, the campaigns that's strongly attached to your name. One of it that we saw was redraw the balance on gender stereotypes. When you were at Mullenlow in London. Can you take us through the process on how the campaign developed? I know it's very close to you, so do tell us about it.
yeah. I think well, this came from an observation that most children draw professionals as men. So whenever you ask a child to draw a doctor or a lawyer or a firefighter, like it's typically always a man. And we were just EJ and I were just talking about it over coffee. I think we were working on a brief related to it, to be honest. And this was an observation that came out, and I think we felt that there was such strength in it, that it needed to be shared in the world. And coincidentally, we were working with this organization called Inspiring the Future, where their goal was to link students with professionals in the field, as inspiration. And and I think when we had found the stats that gender stereotypes are formed between 5 to 7 years of age, and kind of connecting the dots there, we thought, okay, let's see whether this could be like an actual thing. And we had created this experiment where we got children into a classroom, and we had posed it as an art class, um, with a real firefighter, a surgeon, and a pilot acting as teachers, and they had asked them to draw these individuals. And in fact, when the teachers came out as their actual professions, yeah, their reactions were real, and it was all like it was it felt, yeah, quite shocking as well, like to see those reactions while we were shooting. But at the same time, it was also a tender moment because it felt that we were opening eyes right at the shoot. So uh, yeah, and we didn't, when it came out, we didn't expect uh, the success that it got. Like we were very thrilled that Emma Watson shared it, and since then it's been recreated by the UN, the NHS, and even other brands. 7 years later. So yeah, we're very proud of it, and I think the fact that it has opened eyes in terms of the possibilities of representation, I think is something that we also try to do, and it's an idea that we feel strongly about. So we feel very privileged to have used, our jobs to share this very important point of view to the world.
Excellent. It is. You're in a privileged place being a creative. You're able to, bring out societal issues through advertising, through creativity, and you've done so with this campaign. So well done,
Yeah.
especially for women around the world. We are doing things that you think only men can do. There's another campaign, right, that I think you'd like to talk about is the Drink Water campaign for Gatorade. You want to talk us through that as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so very proud of this work for Gatorade. And I think the thinking here was, Gatorade has always been for the greatest of all time. Growing up in the Philippines, we were exposed to commercials where it was like, "Be like Mike." You would see Michael Jordan associated with Gatorade, and working on the brand for 2 years, we had work with Lionel Messi. Gatorade has worked with Serena. So it's always been for like the most elite athletes of the world. But when we had the chance to land Gatorade No Sugar in the Philippines, and to target more casual athletes,
Mm.
because it has like a unique formulation without sugar and all that, we saw it as an opportunity to democratize the brand and to democratize sport as well, to democratize the meaning of an athlete. Um, and in particular, because, we had found out that most people think that water is enough for exercise. Um, we thought, okay, is there a way that we could land this idea, which is a very functional message, in a way that resonates emotionally in the country? And serendipitously, like, we saw that Drinkwater Rivera, was a person that started trending in the Philippines because of his unique name.
Mm.
Um, and when we saw that, the team, EJ and I, we just chatted and we thought, okay, we need to sort of make the most out of this. So overnight, we came up with a script. We then presented it to our clients, Rob Blythe, and we shared this idea, and they really embraced it, got excited by it. And then we were also working with regional clients, so Ray, and Angel, who are working in APAC in the Philippines, saw the script, and they had also seen Drinkwater trending in the Philippines. So I think, that we just got a lot of support from these clients, and they were all very excited about, creating something around this moment. And yeah, I think I called Joel Lynchok, and I said, listen, like, we have this thing, would you want to help? And yeah, he, being the creative person that he is, he obviously like really got excited by it. And I think, it what I loved about this process was just the creative energy was so infectious, and I think everyone just wanted to help out and kind of make sure that we brought this idea to life. So the team at Pabrika was incredibly supportive. We had, people from Adelphi, from Wave, wanting to help out as well. So I think this just goes to show that, a great idea gets everyone excited. If it's a really, if it's an idea that really resonates, people just get attracted to it. So
Yeah,
um,
thanks for sharing that. I mean, a lot of your campaigns are pushing emotions and care and compassion forward, from unstereotyping people and then to democratizing sports. You did an op ed, right, for Adobo Magazine recently, and thank you for that. You said that we need more girls on the football pitch. And you said that something like active participation in sports benefit the growth of our creative industries. I believe in that. I ran the Double Football Cup 12
yes.
years running, and that's huge. I always believe that sports and football is good for the industry. So why do you think sports is so important? particularly on developing our creative directors, curiously.
Yeah, so I'm a big advocate of this idea. I think personally, sports has really changed my life. Like I grew up being part of a swim team, and in the university, I played for the for the football varsity of University of the Philippines. So a lot of my days were spent practicing with a team, and I think I really believe that progress is a team sport. I think you don't uh, get that far alone. I think there's just so much that you learn from being part of a team and working with people. Like kind of trying to work with people's strength is something that I've learned through football. If I know that someone can only run a certain length, then I will ensure that my pass, meets them where they are. And I think being able to read people and understand like our roles in making a play work is so important. I think that as I took on more leadership roles. I believe that, being a leader is about setting the play, making sure that everyone is clear on what they need to do. And I think just being part of a team, like uh, sort of hones in on particular qualities of a leader. In fact, there was this study that 94% of female CEOs played sports as a child. So
That's
so I
interesting.
think, yeah, and I think if you look at it that way, the fact that more men play sports, for instance, I think it almost feels as if there is a whole set of lessons that maybe girls aren't don't get as much access to, and I think that's why it's so important to get girls into
But you
sports,
know what's
just
great
to
now, right? In the UK
yeah,
and even here, football is big
yeah,
now, and you see
yeah,
well women playing, and they're creating so much buzz, and their football matches that are filling stadiums, 52,000 people watching games from Arsenal and Chelsea the other day, and that's a women's team. So it's really
yes,
nice that you're advocating that, and how you how to call it, you use the sports analogy to apply it to your work as well in terms of leadership, teamwork, and understanding each other, as you work with people that you work with in the office or outside. Now, going back to where I started, having a creative move to a global position, or to another part of, away from their comfort zone in their own respective countries. How do you think they can improve their chances of getting a job outside? A lot of Filipino creatives also want to experience the opportunity of learning from other markets to expand their horizons and provide bigger opportunities in terms of their career. What advice would you give creatives, and how can they catapult themselves outside of their comfort zone or comfort area or comfort country?
yeah. I would say like be a sponge for knowledge. Like try to learn as much as you can from every opportunity. I think you have opportunities in the Philippines as much as you have it elsewhere. I think it's with the opportunity is in front of you. Like you've got briefs that you could really like learn from, and I would just treat like every experience as a way to learn. Whenever you're at shoots or you're in meetings, like just try to push your curiosity, your empathy, and just try to learn a little bit more about the people that you're working with as a start. I think there are ways for you to expand your taste. Like I think just keep reading, like keep learning about things, keep learning about new tech. Like just be curious and look at reels of production companies. Like look at RSA, look at Pretty Bird, look at Academy, and just acquaint yourself with different different stimuli to enrich your own personal library. And then I think like try not to live in an echo chamber. Like well, you have to welcome opposing views. You cannot just be around people who are like you. I think it's important that you understand, okay, this is a view that I don't agree with. Like, why do they think this way? And just push yourself to understand where they're coming from. And then I think like connecting to people is again something that we can all do. Like that's quite accessible. Like reach out to people and connect to them on a human level. Um, find find people that inspire you and try to have a coffee with them. And try to see whether there is someone that you admire and just understand a little bit more about how they got there. And then I think also, like make sure that you're aware of your strengths. Everyone has their own superpower that you play that up, and that you're able to identify like what is a unique thing that you bring to the table.
Well, thank you for that. That's excellent advice. Just get stimuli, to get you going, connect with people, and know your strengths. I think those are really great advice. Now we have to wrap this up. So thank you very much, Katrina, for this opportunity to talk to you, and I hope 2024 will be excellent for you. And do send my regards to EJ. By the way, EJ is her husband, who has been our partner. And then I knew them as, honestly, I was so naive. I knew them as colleagues. I didn't realize eventually they're boyfriend, girlfriend. Now they're married and they have a kid. So it's excellent. And they work together as co-executive creative director in 180 Amsterdam. So you have a unique relationship with him, right? And it's a great partnership. What's your tip on how that works? Because if I was to work my husband, it won't work. How did yours work?
Well, I think it's actually helped me sort of stay on this journey. I think, it comes with its own challenges, but I do think that like having a partner is a great way for you to improve yourself. Like what's unique about me and EJ is that we're both, we have our own strengths and we bring different things to the table. So I think that we are, we what combined, I think it's just, the value that we give just doesn't, it's more than, what we could ever do alone. I also think that on our worst days, like we're able to cover for each other. So when I'm feeling like at 20, he's really willing to meet me at an 80, and we're able to bring our best at some points because so I think having someone and to bounce ideas with, and also just create that safe space, because I think it's important to have a safe space to feel brave and to feel bold about ideas, and having a space where you are able to do that, I think is fundamental to being creative.
Well, thank you so much for that, Katrina. Thank you for today. It's been very enlightening speaking to you, and I wish you well. I wish EJ well and your family well. And again, all the best to 2024. I want to thank you, and I want to thank everyone for listening to and watching this episode of Adobo Talks podcast with our very special guest, Katrina Encanto. The Adobo Talks podcast, The Business of Creativity, is available on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Adobo Magazine's platforms. The Adobo Talks podcast, The Business of Creativity, is produced by your favorite magazine, Adobo Magazine, The Word on Creativity, in partnership with our dear friends in the Pod Network, and of course recorded in partnership with one of the country's leading sound production houses, Hit Production. Tune in next week for another insightful conversation with one of the best and brightest minds in our creative industries. Thank you again, Katrina, and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.